we are going to be looking at some disturbing videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video.
My kids' initials, my wedding band, the Medal of Freedom, my engagement ring.
But apparently they symbolize some kind of secret plot. There's also a new theory that Egyptian aircraft have been tracking you.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on? Why are there so many conspiracies spreading about what seems to be a pretty open and shut case?
This is the first time that we have seen evil on display where we have social media at our fingertips. Something so evil that happened, people are wanting answers immediately. They are wanting to figure out how to wrap their mind around this. Egyptian planes.
Egyptian
planes.
Do you believe that Tyler Robinson murdered your husband?
Yes, I do.
Why do you think it is so hard for so many people to believe that reality?
So, I'm not really interested in talking about this whole Charlie Kirk stuff to an extent, but this is weird. This is Tiffany Gomas, that MFer is not real type of weird. Nothing feels fluid, nothing feels genuine, it's just spooky.
Because it's too simple. Again, everyone always has to think there's more to the story. Well, sometimes there's not. I've seen the autopsy report. I've seen our case pulled together. I've been in constant contact with our lawyers, the prosecuting team. I've seen it all. And let me tell you this. Why in the world, why should we, prior to the trial, lay all of our hands and cards on the table for the defense team to see, to somehow then, I don't even know what they would do with it. But what I will say, and I want to get on the Egyptian plane thing, we'll take a flight on that for a second. What I will say is what I'm worried about, and I'm fascinated, just from a legal standpoint, to see how the United Healthcare trials pans out. And I say that because this is the first time where we are seeing the implications.
You're talking about Luigi Mangione.
Correct. I prefer never to say any of their names. They do not even deserve the ounce of oxygen and breath out of my body. But what I mean is it's fascinating to see how social media will impact that court case, just how it might impact mine.
Are you nervous he's not going to get a fair trial?
I'm nervous that there could be, they'll say we can't find a fair jury. Like they're going to taint the jury pool. And in that case,
my discernment is that it's just screaming that, again, it's all an act, and it just feels like with them also mentioning the Luigi Mangione trial, it just feels like they want to go ahead and stop all conspiracies altogether. This is probably the end goal.
That's how widespread you think these conspiracies have gone?
Yes.
That's how mainstream they become. Okay.
Egyptian planes.
You want to talk about Egyptian planes?
Okay. I was pregnant.
Even outside of Erica Kirk, when it comes to Tyler Robinson, the trial doesn't even seem real. It seems like he's AI, but he's surrounded by real people, or they could all be AI. Who really knows at the end of the day? This video comes from Maverick Approach, and he makes a really good point.
The Charlie Kirk saga continues, and you guys, it looks like they're still lying. So, just the other day, they had a pre-trial hearing for Tyler Robinson in the Charlie Kirk assassination, and here he is present with his lawyers. Along with this, they released footage of him talking to his lawyers, and you couldn't hear it, but they had a professional lip reader who transcribed this whole conversation. So, I have questions right off the bat, like one, why is he admitting this directly into a camera for all to see? And two, what kind of lawyer would even allow this type of conversation to happen during a pre-trial with a camera behind them? It just seems all too convenient. Now, let's go over what he said. So he said, I'm thinking about the shooting daily. Unfortunately, it's doing my head in. I'm good for nothing. He also says it's driving me mental. So all of a sudden, Tyler Robinson is from the UK because that's UK vernacular. Nobody in America talks like this. He also says just smoking a lot, not sleeping at night. But there's a huge hole in this plot. Being that he is currently held at the Utah County Jail where smoking is completely prohibited, so how is this even possible? Now, the person transcribing this whole thing is Nicola Hickling, and her company's called Lip Reader Limited, who is a deaf 20-year veteran in lip reading. Now, it's pretty interesting that she's from the UK, so now we're just paraphrasing in your own lingo, so how can we trust this at all? And if that doesn't muddy the waters already, her company actually uses AI technology to enhance and interpret lip reading, so how do we not know that all this isn't just AI altogether? Then there's this, where I found a thread pertaining to this situation. Somebody responded, bro, this guy's smiling while admitting it. Pure insanity. Justice can't come fast enough. Well, for one, he's probably smiling because he probably didn't say that. That's why it doesn't match. And two, you're probably a bot because this account is based in Nigeria. So the question is, who is paying for responses like these? And if this comparison doesn't convince you, I don't know what will.
But going back to Erica Kirk, she's even doing town halls now, and whether you like her or you don't, she's going to play a very important and vital role into 2026. This is why, in my opinion, they put her on the 2026 World Ahead Economist magazine cover. You have all these world leaders on the cover. You have Zelensky, Trump, Xi Jinping, Putin, and I think that's Netanyahu next to Putin. And then you have this blonde woman right here in red. But what's even more interesting, talking about India and Modi, Erica Kirk did speak at the Oval Office event to swear in Sergio Gore as the new United States ambassador to India. Apparently Sergio Gore is a close family friend of theirs, but I still find it interesting nonetheless, given the magazine cover. But yeah, it really feels like they're all actors and actresses, even Tyler Robinson, and again, I don't even know if he's a real person, but it all feels like they're all placed there for a certain narrative, a certain agenda, to push something along. And I hate using the word distraction because I feel like the word distraction is so overused. When you think of things like Maui, Hawaii, when they blew up Hawaii right in front of our faces, they even released a book a day prior to the fires telling us how the fires were going to go down. They removed people off of those lands. They were literally on camera, the police, turning people right back into the fire, stopping people from escaping. And they weren't distracting us as they were doing it because we were all watching it. But this whole Charlie Kirk stuff, Erica Kirk stuff, really does feel like they're distracting us away from something. And one of the biggest things I feel like they are distracting us away from is the rampant growth of AI, because nobody is talking about the fact that Trump signed a bill to stop all regulations on AI, something we were almost all against when it came to the big beautiful bill. And then he signs this executive order and really nobody's talking about it, which is crazy to me because when it was put in the big beautiful bill, people who were on the left, right, in the middle, even people who were not political, all basically came together and said, no, this has to be taken out. And the silence on this executive order is spooky. It's all spooky. And it really is, because prior to even 2025, even in 2024, if you were to tell people that somebody who's sitting on trial for ending somebody's life is AI, the court case is AI, they would say you're out of your mind. They would call you crazy. But if you were to say that to somebody today, they would be like, I can see it. I can see it because of things like Sword 2, because of how much AI has progressed that the public can see anyway, because we know that the AI that they have, the so-called powers that be, is night and day with what the public has. But what we can see with our own eyes anyway with things, again, like Sword 2, something like an AI court case is very believable. And now there's no restrictions on what they can do whatsoever, these tech giants.
Come on, man, this is blue screen. In fact, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I haven't looked like this good in years. I've been totally computer generated since like the 90s. You know what? This ain't even real blue screen. It's 2019, y'all. Nothing's real.
So it's only going to get worse when it comes to blurring the lines between what's real and what's not real. And on top of this, you have platforms like YouTube that is AI enhancing videos, and that blurs the lines even further because they are now fully allowing AI slop, and with them AI enhancing real videos, again, we can't tell the difference anymore between what's real and what's fake, and that's how they want it. What is even scarier is that AI has become so realistic that people are now doing what's called AI pranks, taking photos of strangers in public, in stores, and so forth, and having them do things on videos that they did not do, terrorizing these people, and they capture their confusion and distress on camera, which is really sad because, again, these videos are hyper realistic. Matter of fact, somebody a week ago was arrested in relation to this.
This is now the fourth time police say a man has used AI to create a fake and frightening scenario, this time here at the Marathon gas station on Southern and Dixie. And now he's charged with resisting an officer. That was November 30th, when police say a content creator showed a gas station clerk an AI video of someone being dragged away. Police say it sparked an argument. When officers arrived, the 22-year-old refused to give his home address, so they arrested him. We're not naming or showing him because he's not facing any charges related to his AI videos. But officers say he admitted he did the actions that night to make more social media content and said people would, quote, love his content more because he's willing to get arrested.
I'm definitely glad that he's been arrested because my concern was obviously that he would do it to other people.
Melanie Valentine was the first to report a similar incident, telling us a month ago a man at the Home Depot on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard showed her an AI video of her truck being stolen and tried to get her into his car to catch the guy.
It was certainly scary. It was shocking, honestly, how realistic the video was.
Police say it's the same guy, tied to 4 incidents, including this one captured on body camera. Police say he recorded a shopper, created a fake video of him kissing another woman, and showed it to the man's wife while recording her reaction on his meta glasses.
That's gonna be the charge. That's not his wife. That's a fake woman.
In the video, he tells police he does it all for social media.
I just made a banger with this one, boss. I think my last one at Home Depot hit like $1 mil.
Well, that certainly didn't feel like a prank.
I reached out to the content creator for comment. He hasn't returned my calls.
Our legislators are obviously very behind.
Criminal defense attorney Stuart Kaplan says that's because creating AI videos with people recorded in public isn't illegal, unless you can prove criminal intent. But he says cases are surging and growing more dangerous.
If AI is manipulated or falls into the wrong hands, it can present a very, very troubling and damaging scenario for our way of life.
We've just received an update in our story. The man was arrested for making an AI video.
Well, again, the warning from police is clear. AI videos like this are getting more and more realistic. You cannot always believe what you see. Reporting in West Palm Beach, I'm Kate Hussey, WPTV News.
Yes, I was actually going to go ahead and talk about that. And I don't know if this is from the same content creator or a different one, but there was a content creator who posted a video of a husband and wife, and he shows the husband and wife a video of the husband kissing another woman and stealing merchandise for her, and it was just AI. And the wife wasn't understanding that the video was AI, and she was very angry at the husband. This is a nightmare mode. This is a nightmare mode situation. And again, if the public can create hyper-realistic videos of people doing things that they did not do, then the so-called powers that be can create even more realistic videos of people doing things that they did not do, fake events altogether, or if they did do something, they'll just go ahead and blame AI if they were caught. And on top of all this, Time Magazine names the architects of AI Person of the Year. This video comes from Itty Bitty Terror 2.
Listen up. Now, this comes as no shock to me that the Person of the Year is AI, or the architects of AI. The 9th, the War Department unleashed AI on new Gen AI mill. Pete Hegseth said, the future of American warfare is here, and it's called AI. Now, this comes months after Trump announced America's AI Action Plan, which has 90 federal policy actions to accelerate AI. We all know Trump just signed an executive order launching AI initiative called Genesis Mission, which is probably a nod at Henry Kissinger's book, Genesis. It's a book that talks about how AI can empower humanity. It reads, while some may view this moment as humanity's final act, we perceive instead a new beginning. The cycle of creation is entering a new phase. That phase may operate under new paradigms of, among other things, logic, faith, and time. The last section of the book, which is part 3, is entitled The Tree of Life. Kissinger's Genesis turns God's Genesis and Revelation upside down. Their plea is simple: pick the fruit again. These people believe that it's within our power to obtain the tree of life. This book was published in 2024, and now Trump names his project Genesis. You don't think this has something to do with it? Wake up. The Kissinger-Eric Smith book of AI also states that the real promise of AI, from their perspective, is a tool of perception manipulation, that eventually people will not be able to interpret or perceive reality without the help of an AI via cognitive diminishment and learned helplessness. These people are evil, and this has been the plan the entire time. Complete control in a distorted reality. We won't know soon what's real or fake. Welcome to the golden age.
But moving on, I found this interesting and strange article, and I've never heard anything like this before, have you? But reading this article here from WBIW.com is titled, Mysterious Booms Expected in Indiana This Week Due to Arctic Air. So for quite some time on this channel and my other channels, I have been talking about people across the United States and other countries hearing these very loud, mysterious booms. Officials, they investigate these mysterious booms, and every time they cannot find the sources of these booms. Every single time, but apparently experts over in Indiana are expecting people to hear loud, mysterious booms, and they're blaming this on something called a frostquake. Continue to read this article. It says, Hoosiers across Indiana, particularly those in the northern parts of the state, may hear loud, unexplained booming noises this week. Still, experts say the sound is likely a harmless weather phenomenon known as a frostquake.
Are you hearing loud booms or cracking noises? Well, they're not earthquakes, but you may be experiencing a frostquake. So what is a frostquake? Well, when we get some snow and rain and the ground starts to thaw out a little bit, well, that moisture starts to seep into the ground. And of course, this time of year, it doesn't always stay above freezing for too long, and temperatures start to get very cold again. And when that happens, the water that is now in the soil and bedrock is going to freeze. And when you freeze water, it expands, and that expanding ice leads to the soil cracking, causing loud booms, loud pops, and occasionally can even make the ground shake a little bit. So if you are experiencing loud booms or what you assume are small earthquakes, they're not earthquakes. You are likely experiencing a frostquake, or also known as a cryoseism. Now, there will probably be more in the days ahead, as temperatures will be fluctuating this week, and we've got more Arctic air on the way by the weekend. So expect to hear more of these loud booms, popping sounds, and these frostquakes over the course of the next several weeks. For your local weather authority, I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Yates.
Now, before anybody says, I'm not saying that frostquakes don't exist, so if you heard them before, great, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I've never heard them before. I've lived in New Jersey, born and raised for over 20 years, moved to Florida 15 years ago, but again, born and raised in New Jersey for most of my life, and I have never heard of these loud, mysterious booms, and these loud, mysterious booms being blamed on something called a frostquake. But what's interesting, because this news article from Indiana was posted on December 9th, on December 10th, people in Indiana heard a loud, mysterious boom, and with that was a flash. Did they blame a frostquake? No, they did not. What the experts blamed was a meteor.
So did you hear a loud boom or see that bright flash of light around 4 o'clock this morning? Many Hoosiers did, and they had some different theories about what it was. As Karen Campbell tells us tonight, this rare event has a simple explanation.
An unusual phenomenon captured on doorbell cameras from Hoosiers across central Indiana. A fiery light streaking through the sky, followed by a loud boom.
The first video I saw, I thought a transformer had blown.
Experts call this a rare meteor event.
Normally, this is just small particles that kind of enter the atmosphere, size of a grain of sand, or maybe up to the size of just like a pea or something like that. Very, very tiny. And these are left behind by an asteroid that orbits the sun, leaves these particles behind, and the Earth's orbit passes through those particles, and they burn up in the atmosphere.
13 News spoke with Dr. Aaron Shaw. He's the director of the Holcomb Observatory and Planetarium at Butler University.
The fireball that we seem to have seen in everyone's doorbell cameras at 4 a.m. this morning, that must have come from a much larger piece of material that entered the atmosphere, something maybe the size of I don't know, a meter or 3 feet or so, right? And when these enter the atmosphere, they cause what we call a fireball.
Theories of aliens or even Santa getting in a practice run debunked. But this meteor shower does remind us that we're not alone.
There are millions and millions of, dust particles and mini rocks and asteroids and all these kinds of things in our solar system. It doesn't mean that something bad is going to come our way necessarily. There's, most of this debris is very, very tiny particles that pose absolutely no threat to the Earth. It's really, really cool, and we're really lucky to have caught this.
A fascinating light show that has many Hoosiers waiting for the next one. Karen Campbell, 13 News.
But moving on, look at this news story, and this is pure gaslighting because they just want to let us know that the free peoples are in charge. But this news story came out a few days ago from The Guardian and is titled, "Met Officers Must Tell Bosses If They Are Freemasons, Force Announces. Move comes amid fears that requirement for Freemasons to protect each other could lead to corruption." So they really want us to believe that the bosses are not free peoples, that those in charge of the police force, whether it's the Metropolitan Police over in Britain or here in the United States or wherever, are not a part of the Free People organization. It's just the underlings. Does anybody truly believe that? This is the worst case of gaslighting I have seen in quite some time. So basically, the Freemason police officer is just going to go to his Freemason police boss and say, "Hey, I'm a Freemason," and that is that. Continue to read the article. It says, Britain's largest force said anyone who was part or had been a member of a hierarchical organization that required members to support and protect each other must declare it. The body representing Freemasons condemned the rule and said it would consider legal action. The issue of Freemasons in the Met has been long running, but previous commissioners have either thought tougher rules were not justified or not worth the pain. The current commissioner, Mark Rowley, was moved to act as part of his drive to show the public the force can be trusted. And that's all this is. It's an act. It's an act for the public. Does anybody out there truly believe that the police, which are a brotherhood fraternity, do not have a boss which is in charge of the brotherhood? Does anybody out there honestly believe that? I mean, it even says right here, The Guardian also understands, however, that a recent case of alleged wrongdoing in the force contains allegations that acts under investigation may be linked to Freemasonry. The Met has held intelligence for years of potential corruption linked to personal relationships formed through memberships of the Freemasons, but nothing has been proved, and it never will be, because they protect each other, and they always will. This is just gaslighting. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.